there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 most anticipated fantasy releases for the month of July. But before we go ahead and get on into the books, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon where you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, don't forget to check down in the description box below for links to all of my social media, my Buddy Read Discord, and my Patreon, where you can be entered into winning book giveaways from me, as well as my Amazon shop, where I have listed all the books that I discuss on my channel. The first book is The Carnival of Curiosities by Amy Gibbs. This is an adult historical fantasy that revolves around a magical carnival. This book takes place in Victorian London, and this Carnival of Curiosities is run by a magician named Aurelian Ash. And the carnival's star attraction is a boy named Lucian, and he can summon and manipulate fire. One day, a very high-ranking member of society named Odalyn Rose approaches Aurelius Ash and asks him to allow his charge, a girl named Charlotte, to become a part of his carnival. At first, the magician wants to refuse, but then he realizes that this girl, Charlotte, actually holds a secret that could threaten his entire carnival. So he accepts her and signs a really insidious contract with Odalyn Rose. Lucian, on the other hand, finds himself strongly attracted to Charlotte, but her involvement with the carnival, the secrets that she might have, and the relationships she develops with the members of the carnival threatens to expose all of them and maybe the entire carnival's undoing. Carnival of Curiosities is released on July 11th. Next, we have The Traitor by Anthony Ryan. This is the third book in his Covenant of Steel series, and yes, I have pre-ordered this, and it should be arriving in the next couple weeks, and I'm so excited. But in this series, we followed a character named Alwyn Scribe, and Alwyn was raised as an outlaw, and through a series of events, he ended up being conscripted into this army led by this woman who's known as a saint because she sees these visions about the ending of the world. And Alwyn is incredibly intelligent. He ends up becoming a scribe and kind of just rising in the ranks of her army until he's pretty much one of the top commanders in her army. And with his help, Evadine Corlin, this prophet, this saint, this battle commander, has basically won countless battles and has an entire following of people who believe in her cause. Yet as the series goes on, Alwyn began to learn certain things about Evadine. So at this point in the story, she's not really the person or the woman that he originally thought that she was. And in this book, this army is setting up to face the final battle. And what I really liked is that the end of book 2 actually led to a realization about Evadine that Alwyn had that kind of like set in motion the way things were going to turn for book 3, and I really have no idea what's going to happen, but we're setting up for just the final battle. And having learned the things that he did, Alwyn has to decide exactly what side he's going to be fighting on, and really what the truth is and the motivations behind why the people he thought he knew are doing what they're doing. I'm super excited for this book. Anthony Ryan is definitely one of my favorite authors of all time, and I've really enjoyed the first 2 books. It is a very character-driven story. We are in Alwyn's head. I feel like I know him. There is very light magic in this world, but the magic that is in this world is definitely relevant to the plot, and I can't wait to read it. This book comes out on July 11th. Next, we have a new series coming out by Nikki Pau-Preto, and this book is book 1, and it's called The Bone Smith. In this book, we're following Wren, who is a bonesmith, and bonesmiths are responsible for separating a dead, I guess like a corpse, their physical remains from their ghostly remains, because the dead, even though they are dead, I guess are still animated and are violent and attack people. So even though they're dead, they're not dead. So bonesmiths have to go around and actually kill the dead. Wren is so passionate about being a bonesmith because she is trying to secure her place in this noble house of bone. She's trying to impress her father, but unfortunately, someone actually sabotages Wren. Wren ends up taking the fall for something, and she is banished to the border wall on the edge of their country, the last line of defense against this wasteland called the Breach, where the undead freely roam. When one of the members from the House of Gold, another noble house, gets kidnapped, Ren actually feels like this is a good opportunity to win back the respect of her family, so she volunteers to go after this kidnapped prince, and they actually have to go into the breach, into the wasteland. And Ren finds herself having to enter into an alliance with one of the kidnappers of this prince, a fierce yet exiled ironsmith, as well as her family's sworn enemy, the people that caused the breach in the first place. The Bonesmith has been described as Gideon the Ninth meets Game of Thrones, and this book is released on July 25th. Next, we have House of Root and Ruin by Aaron A. Craig. This is a YA fantasy horror novel, and it's not a sequel, but it's kind of like a companion to her House of Salt and Sorrows book, which I read several years ago. Gave 5 stars, loved it. It was so creepy, and I told myself then that I would read whatever book Aaron A. Craig published going forward, and so I've done. I've already pre-ordered this book too, and I can't wait to read it. In this book, we're following the same family as House of Salt and Sorrows, which this family owns this really, really gorgeous yet gothic manor by the sea, and we're following one of the sisters named Verity. One day, Verity receives a summon from the Duchess asking her to come and paint a picture or a portrait of her son, because Verity is a very talented artist. And Verity really wants to go because she's never really been outside of her family's manor by the sea, but Verity's older sister, who's overseeing the manor, won't allow her to leave. Now, what we know about this manor by the sea is that it is actually haunted, and a lot of the sisters can see and interact with ghosts. So Camille actually reveals to Verity that Verity can see ghosts, but she just doesn't realize what she's seeing. So upon learning this information, Verity actually flees this manor house and tries to go to the Duchess. Upon the way, she meets a man named Alexander Laurent, and they end up developing a romance. But upon arriving at the Duchess's estate, Verity soon learns that this place is not what it appears to be, and it might be also just as haunted as the manor that she left behind. House of Root and Ruin is released on July 25th. And last we have the Jassad Air by Sarah Hashem, and this is a debut fantasy novel that is inspired by Egypt. 10 years ago, the land of Jassad was razed to the ground, burned, the royal family murdered, and magic outlawed. At least that's what Sylvia believes, and Sylvia is actually the lost heir to this kingdom. Sylvia never wants to be found. She knows that if she is found, the neighboring kingdoms, her enemies, will kill her. One day, a tracker working for the enemy actually finds Sylvia in this group of Jassadi rebels, this camp, and she realizes how hard it's going to be to stay hidden. In a moment of anger, Sylvia's magic is exposed, and the tracker working for the enemy, whose name is Aaron, sees everything. So Sylvia is forced to enter into an agreement with him that if he doesn't tell anyone what he saw, she will lead him and her enemy's army to other Jassadi rebel camps. Now, Aaron actually has no clue that Sylvia is the lost heir. He just thinks that she's Jassadi. The kingdom of Jassad is trying to raise itself from the ashes, and they want Sylvia to be their queen. The Jassad Air is expected to be released on July 18th. All right, you guys, that is it for my 5 most anticipated fantasy releases for the month of July. Let me know in the comments if you read any of these yet, got any arcs from them, from NetGalley, whatnot, or if you're interested in reading them, or if you've read any books for any of these authors before, and I will see y'all in another video soon. Goodbye!